Okay, so today Charles has gone out into the middle of the country to the ruins of a Mayan temple. You know, I think they were, throwing people off of there before Jesus was around, pretty much. That's what was happening. But, Jesus stopped all that. So just nail them to a cross instead of throwing them off the top of the temple. That was better. Anyways, it's foggy out here, but it's very, very fascinating. Lana is down at the beach, so I got up at dark 30 and drove 2.5 hours to be here, and I am thoroughly enjoying myself. This is it's spectacular, and there are critters here, people, and live things, stuff like that. Yeah, it's great.
Because I have a very high level of testosterone. I can be sacrificed instead of him. Okay? So finally I fall. Instead to kill me, he's gonna call the other soldiers, please catch him, and continue killing one every 30 seconds. Okay? All the best soldiers they catch, they become prisoners. They back at the city. When I fall, guys, and he's not killing me, we understand each other already what happened. Because we have the same religion first. We believe in the same gods, and many times happen the opposite. Being me, the best soldiers in my city, many times, instead of kill somebody with my almost same level of testosterone, I catch. It's the typical gift for God.
Okay, the guide told me that this section here was called the Sign of the Serpent. And back in the day when they had, they had big parades out there right before they were going to kill people and cut their hearts out and stuff. They would, over here would be the vendor section, and vendors would come over, and vendors would sell, little kitschy stuff, little mini serpents and maybe little pieces of heart and stuff, as a remembrance of the day. But today they sell something, completely different. It has nothing to do with, what they were selling back then. But today it's a completely different sell. So they're still, they're still entrepreneurs, and there's, still some type of killing going on somewhere. But it seems a lot milder today than it was before in the previous times. So I guess that's a good thing because, I'm not that violent anymore. These are the kind of things they're selling. There's tons of this stuff everywhere. Okay, so actually, this was part of the whole. I don't know if you saw the one about the pyramids yet. What?
Where are your country?
I
USA?
can't. Where's my country? USA.
Oh, USA. $1 for USA.
No, you keep going. I like you. So anyhow, these items right here.
You know what?
Okay.
These
These
stalactites.
they're stalactites, stalagmites.
We have a different sound.
They have a different sound.
That's a symbol.
They look like missiles that fit in cannons.
That's the music that they dance in the Mayan.
I
people,
see.
right?
That's beautiful.
That is saying exactly when you make that.
I see. Okay, these are posts that the Mayan lords. What would happen is when they had like a trial, there was a kind of a moral code here, a right or wrong thing, and when somebody was when they found out that somebody was doing something wrong, like a bad person, like if it was a misdemeanor, they kind of tied them with ropes around this, I guess. But if it was a felony, they impaled them on top of these things, and then people stayed here until they rotted away. So I'm not sure. I think they had a lot of judging to go on to make all of this work. But yeah, I'm not sure how many people got impaled here, but probably a lot. That would be my guess, that there was a lot of judgment and impalement going on here, because this is a fucking garden of this shit. I mean, there's a lot of fucking stuff here. So there's a lot of ghosts and shit here, pretty much. So anyways, that's what the guide told me. Okay, so the guide told me that this place right here, guide's very informative, by the way, that this place right here was where the Mayans did their version of jousting, like Knights of the Round Table jousting, stuff like that. And except for they did it on burros. Okay, so the jousting was a little slower, and as they went towards each other, as a burro went towards each burro, whichever burrow made it to the other end first with a warrior or a maiden or whatever it was, a live entity on top of it. With a live, whatever one got to the other area first was the winner. And then the loser had to go either into the small post of smashing or to the heart reduction, heart ripping, not reduction section, or the section over there where, they had the lizards, one of those sections. Anyhow, that was here. That happened right here. Okay, the smashing posts, that's what the guide told me they were called. These smaller ones down here were used for much, much lesser crimes. So, for example, if you said something bad about somebody's cousin or uncle, you'd be kind of tied to this post for maybe a few hours. And then as the crimes increased, the more that the crimes increased, the more time you would spend on these other smashing posts, till eventually, you got smashed all the way to hell on these big posts. Like if, you tried to screw somebody you weren't supposed to be screwing, or, you accidentally killed somebody, or, ran over somebody in the road, something like that. That's where the big smashing posts were used for. Okay, so I was told that this is the Adobe PS section, where the early inventors, this is what the guide told me anyhow, but the early inventors, the pre-Adobe Photoshop people were here, and because they didn't have Windows or Macs, they didn't have any real computers. They literally just did this stuff, with their hands on the walls and stuff. So that's where the Adobe Photoshop came from. That's what the guy told me. That Adobe Photoshop, and these were the early Photoshop geniuses. I don't know how they did with shading, and I don't know whether it was vector graphics. I don't know how they did that kind of stuff. But it is kind of amazing that these people, with basically nothing, were able to make these incredible drawings, without a computer. You think about it. They didn't use computers at all. No computers. None. That's fascinating. Okay, so with this thing, the guide told me this was pretty much the tester. This is like when they were trying it out, when the aliens with the spaceships were trying things out. They tried this out first before they did the big ones in Egypt. That's basically what he said. This was a trial, and it came out pretty good. It's not, it's not as diamondy shaped, but it's still, I think they did a good job here. I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out how big the spaceship is that drags this thing down, but it's kind of cool. Oh, say today. Yeah, okay, stop.